Oh, 500 pieces. That should be a breeze. Oh, some of these pieces are already put together. That's convenient. All right, well, this must fit right here. I mean, it's part of the puzzle, so here we go. Oh, well, doesn't fit. I guess this puzzle is a wash. Now, we would never treat our morning routine like a puzzle that we just randomly pick the pieces out of and think that they're gonna go together the same way every time we open the box. It's just not always the truth. So let's talk about how we can make our mornings a little more predictable and how to recover when things don't go our way, because they're not always gonna go our way, right? That's what's coming up next. Now, completing a 500-piece puzzle first thing in the morning before we ever even get started for the day is completely unrealistic. We would never do that, but don't we try to do that with our routines so frequently, and then we wonder why we can't get everything done. We feel overwhelmed most of the day, and sometimes we just feel like the day has completely gotten away from us and we just call it a wash. But that's just not realistic, and it doesn't have to be that way. Well, hello friend, I'm Mary Beth with At What Cost, where simple living and deep faith go hand in hand. Welcome to another mega motivation playlist that is being hosted by Dawn at The Minimal Mom. There are a bunch of YouTubers getting together today talking all about morning routines. So let's dive in. Let me give you an overview of how my morning routine goes, but we are starting the night before. One of the key elements to my morning routine is keeping my dishes under control by the time the evening rolls around. Before I go to bed, I want to have washed my dishes and put them away, because it never fails. If I have to empty the dishwasher in the morning, it just ends up taking up extra valuable time that I want to be able to devote somewhere else. I don't mind running the dishwasher in the evening time while we're watching TV or getting the kids ready for bed, and then putting those dishes away before I go to bed myself. That leaves me pretty much a blank slate in the morning time, which is oh so helpful. I also ensure that my kids have all of their clothes laid out, which we actually do at the beginning of the week on Sundays. They have what we call their stackers, which are these hanging, organizing, whatever, I don't know what to call them, hanging cubbies. They have the day of the week so they can see where they're at throughout the week, and they put an outfit for each day of the week in there so that I don't have to be helping them pick out clothes, and we don't have to be trying to figure out where they laid out their clothes after showers or any of that garbage mess, like anticipation of fighting with each other. All of that is laid out for the week, and they know exactly where everything is. I want to do a quick tidy of the area in my home that I'm going to use for Bible study the next morning, because that is a key element in my morning routine. And I want to tidy up my kitchen. When I come downstairs to start the day, I want my house to feel pretty calm and under control. Having things laying all over the place really just overwhelmed me, and I felt like I had to get all of those things done and have a clean slate before I could actually sit down and have some time for myself and get my day going. I definitely like a slow start to the day, and if I don't get up before my kids, that just is not going to happen. So one of the last things that I'm going to do before bed is take my shower. Now, I love to take a shower in the morning, but with all of the things that I have to get done during the day, I sometimes can lose track of time, and then it's lunchtime and I realize, oh, I'm still working in my pajamas. Taking a shower at night really helps to free up some more of that time in the morning, and it's a great way to relax and unwind. And I'm going to go to bed at a decent hour because I'm an early riser. So if you are a total night owl, getting up at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning is probably unrealistic for you. But if you aren't a night owl and you're usually in bed early, getting up earlier in the morning may be more realistic for you. Setting up a morning routine really depends on your own personal style. Now, if you know those things about yourself, don't try to push a whole new routine and completely rewire your system because you're trying to check off the things on someone else's list. Listen to your body, think about the unique circumstances of your life, and try to put those things into place. So I'm usually up between 4:30 and 5, but that's what works for me. Again, follow your own convictions on that one and your own body rhythms. But 4:30 or 5 is my typical wake up time. My ideal routine is to just sit right down and already have a cup of coffee made for me and read my Bible in peace and quiet. But alas, yeah, who's gonna make it? If it's not me, it's not gonna get done because nobody else is up in our house, and that's the key, okay? That's the point. This is my time to really have that slow start to my day that I absolutely enjoy. I have started the night before with the things we just talked about, and then while my coffee is brewing, I'm gonna make snacks or lunches for my kids for during their school day. I'm gonna make their water bottles that they have to take, make sure that everybody has a clean mask for school because that's part of our routine now. And usually by the time I get done with all of those things, my coffee is ready and I can sit down with my Bible for a good amount of study. I typically can get about an hour of study in, which is great. So by 5:30 or 6 o'clock, it's about time for me to lay out things for my kids to eat for breakfast and finish up anything else that I need to get done before I start work at 6:30. Then my kids will get up usually between 6:45 and 7. I check in with them just a little bit, like really very minimally while I'm working because their clothes are already laid out. I've already got their breakfast laid out. And so there's not much for them to do but to pack the few things that they need to in their book bags, get them by the front door, get dressed, get their shoes on, and eat breakfast. And those are things that they can all do without me having to like really be there to orchestrate all of those things. Once all of that wraps up, they get on the bus and I just continue with my workday. Now, does it always go that way? No, of course not. Just like the puzzle that we attempted at the beginning of this video, sometimes the pieces come out at a very random pace. I don't always get them in the right spot, but that doesn't mean that my whole day has to be a wash. Routines are based on cycles. It's a very simple cycle, and cycles are something that we can reproduce and will keep going unless they're interrupted. They're also something that we can jump in at any point in the cycle and get it moving again. The first stage in that cycle is the cue. That's what lets us know that it's time for the cycle to begin. Maybe it's your alarm clock that wakes you up in the morning. Maybe you throw a load of laundry in when you get up, and when you hear the washing machine singing that little fun little ditty that tries to, I don't know, get you excited about doing your laundry, that's your cue to move the laundry over to the dryer. Now, maybe as you're doing that, you wake your kids up and help them get dressed. That's the action that you'll carry out. Or maybe when your alarm clock goes off, you get up and you take your shower. After we've had the action, then we get the reward. So for some of us, the reward may simply be successfully getting our kids dressed without any squabbling from either side. Or if you're like me, the reward is definitely that hot piping cup of coffee that I can enjoy while I'm having my quiet time. Sometimes this cycle can get a little off track. We oversleep our alarm or something else happens and we're not always automatically cued to jump into that action. But we may have another cue, even if it's not a predictable one, that helps us remember that it's time to get back into that cycle or jolts our memory, and we can go right back into the action and ultimately get the reward. Now, I would not recommend trying to start the cycle in the reward cycle because otherwise, well, I don't know, maybe I can recommend that because wouldn't it be so glorious to just sit and have a nice, hot, uninterrupted cup of coffee? I don't know, maybe every now and then start with the rewards, but on a regular basis, I recommend setting up some type of cue for yourself, reminder, something that happens to remind you that it's time to take action. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, deepening my faith has been a big part of my minimalism journey and simplifying life, which means another way that I cope with morning routines getting off track is grace. Receiving grace for myself and extending grace for others. You know, we're all in this cycle. And so sometimes my kids wake up and their cue kind of hits them the wrong way and they don't want to take action. I have an opportunity here to give them some grace and either help them with the things that they need help with because they've gotten off track, or sometimes giving them grace means letting them figure out how they're going to carry things out. Receiving grace looks a lot like walking downstairs to a messy kitchen that I didn't actually get done the night before because we had a rough day or something came up and I just couldn't get it finished. Receiving grace means that sometimes I make my cup of coffee anyway and just sit down and do my Bible study even if my kitchen is a little bit of a mess. Receiving grace when my routine doesn't go as planned may look like taking the extra time to tidy up the kitchen, but praying along the way, asking God to really just help to get my day on track and help the rest of those cycles run smoothly as I go throughout my morning. Be sure to check out the other creators in this playlist. You can find the link to that right down here. And if you would like to know more about how you can deepen your faith through simple living, you can click the link right up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.